This is your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, April 29th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Retired Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens told NPR's Weekend Edition Saturday that marijuana should be legalized nationwide. The 94-year-old former justice is promoting his book, 6 Amendments, which calls on constitutional changes to election financing, firearms possession, and the death penalty. Stevens said, quote, "I really think that marijuana prohibition's another instance of public opinion has changed and recognized that the distinction between marijuana and alcoholic beverages is really not much of a distinction. The alcohol prohibition against selling and dispensing alcohol beverages has, I think, been there's a general consensus that it was not worth the cost. And I think really that in time, that will be the general consensus with respect to this particular drug." End quote. Stevens was on the bench when Judge Douglas Ginsburg's nomination to the Supreme Court was scuttled in 1987 due to his admitting to smoking pot in college at Harvard. Iowa is set to become the next state to legalize the use of cannabidiol oil for epileptic seizures. 5 states, Utah, Mississippi, Alabama, Wisconsin, and South Carolina, have legalized the non-psychoactive component of marijuana. Like most of these CBD-only states, the Iowa law would not allow patients to grow their own marijuana to harvest CBD oil or allow them to purchase CBD oil within the state. Patients are explicitly told they will need to acquire the CBD oil from out of state, presumably Colorado, where they'd be breaking state and federal law trafficking the substance. The House Public Safety Committee approved 3 new amendments that remove reciprocity for patients with an out-of-state medical marijuana recommendation, establish a 32-ounce limit for possession of CBD oil, and directs the University of Iowa to study CBD's effectiveness. The bill returns to the House floor for further debate. The Senate would need to also concur on the 3 new amendments for the bill to advance to the governor. Meanwhile, in Florida, the Senate has passed a bill to legalize CBD oil by a margin of 36-3. The bill would create a system of authorized dispensing organizations that could produce the oil so long as it contains less than 0.8% THC. Patients added by their doctor to a compassionate use registry would then be able to access the oil for treatment. The House version of the bill expands the conditions qualifying for CBD treatment to not just epilepsy, but also Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, post-traumatic stress, and cancer. Florida will be voting in November on a more expansive medical marijuana constitutional amendment, and some believe that passage of this CBD-only law would hinder the full enactment of that amendment. Florida's Surgeon General has spoken out against the CBD bill, and Governor Rick Scott's office has not indicated his position on signing or vetoing it should it come to his desk. Minnesota's Senate Judiciary Committee panel today approved a bill that would legalize medical use of marijuana, sending the bill to a full committee. The bill would recognize the standard 8 conditions, cancer, AIDS, cachexia, glaucoma, seizures, spasms, pain, and nausea, as well as hepatitis C, Tourette syndrome, ALS, and post-traumatic stress. Patients could possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana and shop at a limited number of alternative treatment centers that could dispense marijuana. Patients could not grow their own marijuana, and any patient under age 18 would need recommendations from 2 doctors. Out-of-state patients would be protected as well, and no patient would face discrimination over housing, education, organ transplant, or child custody simply for being a patient. The target date for implementation of this legislation, should it be signed by the governor, who has always taken a veto position on medical marijuana, is July 1st, 2015. State regulators in Colorado are considering revisions to the law concerning medicated edibles in the wake of highly publicized stories of cannabis overdose. The Department of Revenue, charged with marijuana packaging regulations, says a task force, quote, in advance of a formal rulemaking process, end quote, will be reviewing the current laws, which consider 10 milligrams of THC to be a serving of marijuana edible, but allows up to 10 servings to be contained in a package. Recently, a college student leaped to his death after consuming an entire 65 milligram THC cookie, and a man on a 9/11 tape can be heard allegedly murdering his wife after eating a 100 milligram THC candy bar. Options under consideration include requiring easily distinguishable 10 milligram servings, such as a chocolate bar breakable into marked 10 milligram chunks, or limiting the packaging of any product to just 10 milligrams.
What's up, Doc?
Well, what's up is The end of the news, and thank you, Bugs. Reminder, this Saturday, the Global Cannabis March will be taking place in a city near you, over 300 cities across the world. I'll be at Pioneer Courthouse Square with Herb Thrasher and other Oregon marijuana activists marching for the right of all people, even healthy ones, to not be molested by police and law enforcement over their use of cannabis. This has been your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, April 29th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available at our website at 420radio.org. Log on today. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines and take a look at a case in Illinois where a police officer admits to smearing marijuana on innocent people's cars to test his drug dog. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.